Today, we are cracking the code on something called customer experience, or CX for short. We're going to dig into how businesses can and should bridge the huge gap between the strategy they've built and what their customers are actually living through. And we'll be using the official framework from the people who literally wrote the book on it.
So, let's just start with a really big question. What if you've spent all this time and money building this brilliant strategy, but your customers are living in a completely different reality? It's a massive, and I mean really expensive problem for so many companies.
Well, that problem actually has a name. It's called the experience disconnect. And honestly, it's the entire reason the field of customer experience even exists.
Okay, so the official term you'll hear is the customer experience gap. Think of it like this giant canyon between the amazing service you think you're delivering and what your customers actually feel and perceive on their end. And this gap, it doesn't just happen by accident, right? The experts at the CXPA point to some really common internal blind spots. You know, things like just assuming you know what customers want, or thinking customer feedback isn't all that important, or maybe you have tons of raw data, but you're not actually turning it into real insights. And a big one, only getting your feedback from the sales and marketing teams.
So, what's the solution? Well, this is where customer experience comes in. And we're not just talking about it as a vague idea, but as a real professional discipline that was designed to solve this exact problem. Let's look at the official definition from the Customer Experience Professionals Association. They say CX is the total perception a customer has of you. It's formed over time across every single interaction they have with you, every touch point, every person, every piece of tech. It's not just one thing. It is quite literally everything.
So, to boil it all down, CX is the specific professional discipline that is engineered to close that gap. It's a structured, very intentional effort to make sure the company's perception and the customer's reality are one and the same.
So how do you actually do this? How do you start seeing your own business from the outside in? Let's get into the core tools of the CX trade.
It all kicks off with what's called a Voice of the Customer, or VOC program. Now, this isn't about sending out one survey and calling it a day. It's a coordinated system for listening to your customers from all kinds of places to build a really complete picture of what they're thinking and feeling.
But here's the thing. Before you can really listen, you have to know who you're listening to. You can't just try to understand the customer as if they're all one person. And the tool for that is a persona. A persona, like this example of tech-savvy Tess, stops being just a data point and starts becoming a real person. We can see her goals, her background, her expectations. It puts a human face on a whole segment of your customers. Okay, so once you have your who, your persona, you can start to map their journey. And this is so important. You are mapping their actual experience, not just drawing a diagram of your internal company process.
And that brings us to the customer journey map, which is, you could argue, the most important tool in the entire CX toolkit. It starts out looking pretty simple, just a basic grid. The goal here is to visualize a customer's entire journey from start to finish. So first things first, we put our persona, tech-savvy Tess, right there on the map. Then we map out the big picture stages she goes through to reach her goal. In this case, she's buying shoes online, so we're talking about searching, purchasing, delivery, and even sharing her experience afterwards. All right, next layer. We start to add our own internal objective data. This is the what. We add our business metrics, things like how long it took her to purchase or what our on-time delivery rate was for that stage of her journey. And now for the final and honestly the most crucial layer, the qualitative voice of the customer. We start adding what they're actually saying and feeling at each step. And boom, suddenly all that data has context. We can see her feelings shift from happy to frustrated, and it reveals the exact pain points and those critical moments of truth.
And there you have it. With a completed map, the entire organization can finally stop seeing the process from inside their own little silos. Instead, everyone can see it through the customer's eyes. It creates this shared, unified lens for the whole company.
So why does all this work matter? I mean, it seems like a lot, right? Let's talk about the payoff. How does taking this disciplined approach actually translate into real business value?
Well, it all starts with a huge fundamental shift in mindset. You're moving from what we call inside-out thinking, where you're just focused on your own processes and your systems and your costs, to outside-in thinking, where you start and end every decision with the customer's actual needs, goals, and feelings.
And the impact when you make that shift, it is huge. And we're not talking about fuzzy feelings here. We're talking about tangible business results. You get more loyal, repeat customers because you're actually solving their problems. You get higher employee engagement because everyone has a clearer mission. And yep, you generate new revenue.
So let's wrap this all up by really elevating our thinking about what customer experience is. This is not some corporate buzzword. It's a profession.
And I want to share this quote from the foreword of the CXPA's Book of Knowledge, because it says it all. The goal here is for CX to be seen with the same professional rigor as a discipline like project management. Think about that.
So the biggest takeaway here is this. Customer experience is not just a soft skill. It's not just about being nice to people. It is a formal strategic discipline. It has its own tools, its own metrics, and a recognized body of knowledge, just like any other serious profession.
Which leaves us with one final question to chew on. How would your business really change? What priorities would shift, and what brand new opportunities would you uncover if you truly mapped your most important customer's journey from their perspective?